Alright, in order to introduce the next operators that you can use in Kotlin, I first need to introduce a control flow statement. Specifically, I'm going to show you how to use the if then else statement expression, and we're going to see later why it's called the statement expression. And we need to use a control flow statement because those operators can only work in conjunction with a control flow statement. You can use them only in conjunction with a control flow statement. So I'm going to declare a variable here. It's going to be a val. It's going to be called isActive, and I'm going to assign true to it. Right? Then I'm going to press enter, and on the next line I'm going to type if, and wait for the suggestion. We have parentheses. You can press enter to fill that for us. And inside the parentheses we define our condition, and then we put curly braces. So I'm going to put the left curly brace, I'm going to press enter, and the right curly brace is going to be added automatically. So inside those parentheses we define our condition, which can be either true or false, and if this condition inside the parentheses is true, the code inside the curly braces, the code inside the block that is defined by those curly braces is going to be executed. If this condition is false, the code is not going to be executed. So I can type here if is active, and now I'm going to use the equals to operator. So I'm going to put equals. So look at the difference. This operator that we have here is a single equals, called the assignment operator, because it assigns what's on the right to the variable on the left. This equal to operator is an operator which checks to see if the operand on the left is the same as the operand on the right. So if I'm going to type here it's active equal true, then I'm going to type SOUT for shortcut for the print line, and I'm going to type the condition is true. So now if you run this, and we get the output, the condition is true, because it's active, has the value true, and here with the double equals we check in to see if this what is inside this variable it's active, it's equal to true, and it's equal to true because it has the value true, and it outputs in the console the condition is true. But if I change this to false, so now it's not equal to true, it's active, has a different value, and if you run this, we get nothing because the condition is false and the code inside the curly braces of the if is not executed. But what we can do in this scenario, we can add an else block. So we can put here else. So if the condition is false, do something else. So I'm going to type here SOUT, and I'm going to type the condition. So this else part is going to be executed only if the condition inside the if is false. So I'm going to type the condition is false. So now if you run this, now we get the condition is false, as you can see here, because the if first checks to see if the condition inside the parenthesis of the if is true, and it's not true, it's false, and then it executes the block of code of the else, because the else is executed if the condition inside the if is false. And this is called the equals to operator. Now let's but before I'm going to show you another operator. Let's hover over here, because it says that you can simplify Boolean expression. So what we can do is we can delete this equals to true, and you can simply put, when you have a Boolean variable, we can simply type is active, and this is equivalent to checking is active equals true, because now if you run this, the output will be the same. So if you run this, we get the condition is false, and if I change this to true, and if I run this, now we'll get the condition is true. You get the condition is true. Let's put a single, no, let's delete the S there, let's run it again. and we get the condition is true. So is active without equals to true or equals to false, it's active, it's doing the same thing as having equals true. So you check to see if this variable has the value true. It's an abbreviation of what we had previously. Next, let's introduce the next operator, and that is the greater than or equal to operator. And I'm going to create here a variable val. My number is going to be in camel case the name. I'm going to assign here 5. I'll delete this variable, it's active, because I'm not going to use this now. And now this is in red because it doesn't exist. And I'm going to type here if my number, and now I'm going to introduce the next operator, is greater than 4. So what we are checking now is the value assigned to my number variable greater than 4? Let's run our code to see what we get. Let's actually change the text to the number is greater than 4. So let's run this. So what we have in the parentheses is going to be evaluated to true or false. In this case, it's going to be true, and we get the number is greater than 4. Now, if I put here 5, so if is my number greater than 5? No, it's false. So it's going to say the condition is false. So get the condition is false. It's executing the else part because the if check failed. So this is false. Let's press Shift Control P on this. As you can see by looking at the pop-up boolean there, this is a boolean expression. So it evaluates to true or false. And if I put here greater than or equal to 5, look what happens now. If I run this code, now we get the number is greater than 4. Why? Because now we have a different operator, and this is the operator greater than or equal to. So our number is not greater than 5, but it's equal to 5. So it evaluates to true, and it's executing the code inside the curly braces of the if, which is this print line. And when we have a single line of code, we can omit curly braces. So you can delete curly braces, and you can execute the code. So let's run this to see that we get the same output. But use this only when you have a single line of code. When you have multiple lines of code, you'll always use the curly braces, because if I put here curly brace, so let's press Ctrl Z actually to have what we had previously. Now let's delete the else, because I want to show you what happens if you don't put curly braces and you have multiple lines of code. So let's say that I want to have this condition to be false. So let's put now my number is greater than 5, which is not true. My number is equal to 5, and I want both those lines of code to be skipped. So I don't want this code to be those lines of code to be executed. So if I press Ctrl D multiple times here, and with curly braces, now if I run this, and the code is inside the code block, how it's called. This is how it's standard code block. So if the lines of code are inside the curly braces, they are part of the if. If this condition fails, the code block, the block of code, and implicitly all the code inside the curly braces is gonna be skipped. But if I don't use curly braces, and now if I run this, look what happens. We get only the first line of code skipped. So this is skipped because when you don't use curly braces, only one line of code is part of the if or all of the if. And the next lines of code are executed because they are part of the flow of the program. They are executed because they are the next line of code. So this is why you need to use curly braces. Let's press Control Z. If you have multiple lines of code, again always use curly braces. So let's press Control Z to have the previous code. Now, what you can also do is that you can chain more ifs here. So you can type here else, if, and we have a suggestion with parentheses. Let's put parentheses. My number is greater than or equal to 4. Let's put curly braces and press enter. So now we chained another else if statement. So let's press Ctrl Alt L to format the code. And I'll add the line of code here. Let's type SOT2. And I'll type here the number is greater than 4. And here should be 5. Why I type here for 4. 5. Now let's change this to 4. And let's run our code. So we get the number is greater, so it's greater than 4. So this line of code, this check here if evaluates to false, and then the else if check evaluates to true, and the code inside the curly brace of the else if is executed. And you can chain more else if else ifs here. So you can chain as many else ifs as you want here with various conditions. Now I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next video.